Day 247. 2 Corinthians 7. 1 Therefore, because we have these promises, beloved, let us purify ourselves from all impurity of the flesh and spirit and let us cultivate holiness in the awe of Jehovah. 2 Bear with us, brethren. We have not done evil to anyone, we have not corrupted anyone, we have not cheated anyone. 3 It was not to condemn you that I spoke previously, for I said that you are in our heart to die and to live as one. 4 I have great frankness toward you and much pride in you, and I am filled with comfort, and I have a great abundance of joy in all my afflictions. 5 For from the time that we came to Macedonia, we had no relief for our body, but we were tormented in all things, combat from without and fear from within. 6 But Jehovah, he who comforts the lowly, comforted us with the coming of Titus. 7 And not only with his coming but also with that relief with which he was relieved by you, for he proclaimed to us concerning your love for us and concerning your grief and your zeal for our sakes, and when I heard, I had great joy. 8 For although I grieved you by an epistle, I have no regret, even though I was sorry, for I saw that the same epistle, though it grieved you for an hour, 9 On the other hand gave me great joy, not because you grieved for yourselves but because your grief brought you conversion, for you grieved for yourselves by that which is from Jehovah, so that you would not be harmed by us in anything. 10 For grief that is for Jehovah's sake produces a remorse of the soul which does not reverse itself and restores to life, but the grief of the world produces death. 11 For behold, this has happened because you were distressed for Jehovah's sake. How much more have I effected diligence in you, and apology, anger, fear, love, zeal and vengeance. And you revealed yourselves in all things that you are pure in this matter. 12 But this that I wrote to you will be, not because of the wrong, neither because of him who did wrong, but so that your diligence toward us might be made known in the presence of Jehovah. 13 Because of this we are comforted, and with our comfort we rejoice all the more in the joy of Titus, whose spirit was refreshed with all of you. 14 I am not ashamed in whatever I have boasted to him concerning your persons, but as we have spoken the truth in everything with you, so also our boasting to Titus was found to be in truth. 15 Also his affections are increased all the more for you as he remembers the obedience of you all, that you received him with awe and trembling. 16 I rejoice that in everything I trust in you. Numbers 16. 1 And Kor the son of Isar the son of Koth the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, and On the son of Pheleth the son of Reuben, spoke too and rose up before Moses, and 250 men of the sons of Israel, chiefs of the assembly, chosen counselors, and men of renown. 3 They rose up against Moses and Aaron, and said, Let it be enough for you that all the congregation are holy, and Elohim is among them, and why do ye set up yourselves against the congregation of Elohim? 4 And when Moses heard it, he fell on his face. 5 And he spoke to Kor and all his assembly, saying, Jehovah has visited and known those that are his and who are holy, and has brought them to himself, and whom he has chosen for himself, he has brought to himself. 6 This do ye, take to yourselves censers, Kor and all his company. 7 And put fire on them, and put incense on them before Elohim tomorrow, and it shall come to pass that the man whom Elohim has chosen, he shall be holy, let it be enough for you, ye sons of Levi. 8 And Moses said to Kor, Hearken to me, ye sons of Levi. 9 Is it a little thing for you, that the Jehovah of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel, and brought you near to himself to minister in the services of the tabernacle of Elohim, and to stand before the tabernacle to minister for them? 10 And he has brought thee near and all thy brethren the sons of Levi with thee, and do ye seek to be priests also? 11 Thus it is with thee and all thy congregation which is gathered together against Jehovah, and who is Aaron, that ye murmur against him. 12 And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram sons of Eliab, and they said, We will not go up. 13 Is it a little thing that thou hast brought us up to a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, and that thou altogether rulest over us? 14 Thou art a prince, and hast thou brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, and hast thou given us an inheritance of land and vineyards. Wouldest thou have put out the eyes of those men? We will not go up. 15 And Moses was exceeding indignant, and said to Elohim, Do thou take no heed to their sacrifice, I have not taken away the desire of any one of them, neither have I hurt any one of them. 16 And Moses said to Kor, Sanctify thy company, and be ready before Elohim, thou and Aaron and they, tomorrow. 17 And take each man his censer, and ye shall put incense upon them, and shall bring each one his censer before Elohim, 250 censers, and thou and Aaron shall bring each his censer. 18 And each man took his censer, and they put on them fire, and laid incense on them, and Moses and Aaron stood by the doors of the tabernacle of witness. 19 And Kor raised up against them all his company by the door of the tabernacle of witness, and the glory of Elohim appeared to all the congregation. 20 And Elohim spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 21 Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and I will consume them at once. 22 And they fell on their faces, and said, O Jehovah, the Jehovah of spirits and of all flesh, if one man has sinned, shall the wrath of Elohim be upon the whole congregation. 23 And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, 24 Speak to the congregation, saying, Depart from the company of Kor round about. 25 And Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and all the elders of Israel went with him. 26 And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Separate yourselves from the tents of these stubborn men, and touch nothing that belongs to them, lest ye be consumed with them in all their sin. 27 And they stood aloof from the tent of Kor round about, and Dathan and Abiram went forth and stood by the doors of their tents, and their wives and their children and their store. 28 And Moses said, Hereby shall ye know that Elohim has sent me to perform all these works, that I have not done them of myself. 29 If these men shall die according to the death of all men, if also their visitation shall be according to the visitation of all men, then Elohim has not sent me. 30 But if Elohim shall show by a wonder, and the earth shall open her mouth and swallow them up, and their houses, and their tents, and all that belongs to them, and they shall go down alive into Hades, then ye shall know that these men have provoked Elohim. 31 And when he ceased speaking all these words, the ground clave asunder beneath them. 32 And the ground opened, and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that were with Kor, and their cattle. 33 And they went down and all that they had, alive into Hades, and the ground covered them, and they perished from the midst of the congregation. 34 And all Israel round about them fled from the sound of them, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up also. 35 And fire went forth from Elohim, and devoured the 250 men that offered incense. 36 And Elohim said to Moses, 37 And to Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest, Take up the brazen censers out of the midst of the men that have been burnt, and scatter the strange fire yonder, for they have sanctified the censers 38 of these sinners against their own souls, and do thou make them beaten plates a covering to the altar, because they were brought before Elohim and hallowed, and they became a sign to the children of Israel. 39 And Eleazar the son of Aaron the priest took the brazen censers, which the men who had been burnt brought near, and they put them as a covering on the altar, 40 A memorial to the children of Israel that no stranger might draw nigh, who is not of the seed of Aaron, to offer incense before Elohim, so he shall not be as Kor and as they that conspired with him, as Elohim spoke to him by the hand of Moses. 41 And the children of Israel murmured the next day against Moses and Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of Elohim. 42 And it came to pass when the congregation combined against Moses and Aaron, that they ran impetuously to the tabernacle of witness, and the cloud covered it, and the glory of Elohim appeared. 43 And Moses and Aaron went in front of the tabernacle of witness. 44 And Elohim spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, 45 Depart out of the midst of this congregation, and I will consume them at once, and they fell upon their faces. 46 And Moses said to Aaron, Take a censer, and put on it fire from the altar, and put incense on it, and carry it away quickly into the camp, and make atonement for them, for wrath is gone forth from the presence of Elohim, it has begun to destroy the people. 47 And Aaron took as Moses spoke to him, and ran among the congregation, for already the plague had begun among the people, and he put on incense, and made an atonement for the people. 48 And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague ceased. 49 And they that died in the plague were 14,700, besides those that died on account of Kor. 50 And Aaron returned to Moses to the door of the tabernacle of witness, and the plague ceased. Jeremiah 18. 1 The word that came from Elohim to 2 Jeremiah's, saying, Arise, and go down to the potter's house, and there thou shalt hear my words. 3 So I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he was making a vessel on the stones. 4 And the vessel which he was making with his hands fell, so he made it again another vessel, as it seemed good to him to make it. 5 And the word of Elohim came to me, saying, 6 Shall I not be able, O house of Israel, to do to you as this potter? Behold, as the clay of the potter are ye in my hands. 7 If I shall pronounce a decree upon a nation, or upon a kingdom, to cut them off, and to destroy them. 8 And that nation turn from all their sins, then will I repent of the evils which I purpose to do to them. 9 And if I shall pronounce a decree upon a nation and kingdom, to rebuild and to plant it. 10 And they do evil before me, so as not to hearken to my voice, then will I repent of the good which I spoke of, to do it to them. 11 And now say to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Behold, I prepare evils against you, and devise a device against you. Let every one turn now from his evil way, and amend your practices. 12 And they said, We will quit ourselves like men, for we will pursue our perverse ways, and we will perform each the lusts of his evil heart. 13 Therefore thus saith Elohim, Inquire now among the nations, who has heard such very horrible things as the Virgin of Israel has done. 14 Will fertilizing streams fail to flow from a rock, or snow fail from Libanus? Will water violently impelled by the wind turn aside? 15 For my people have forgotten me, they have offered incense in vain, and they fail in their ways, leaving the ancient tracks, to enter upon impassable paths. 16 To make their land a desolation, and a perpetual hissing, all that go through it shall be amazed, and shall shake their heads. 17 I will scatter them before their enemies like an east wind, I will show them the day of their destruction. 18 Then they said, Come, and let us devise a device against Jeremiah's, for the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us smite him with the tongue, and we will hear all his words. 19 Hear me, O Elohim, and hear the voice of my pleading. 20 For as much as evil is rewarded for good, for they have spoken words against my soul, and they have hidden the punishment they meant for me, remember that I stood before thy face, to speak good for them, to turn away thy wrath from them. 21 Therefore do thou deliver their sons to famine, and gather them to the power of the sword, let their women be childless and widows, and let their men be cut off by death, and their young men fall by the sword in war. 22 Let there be a cry in their houses, thou shalt bring upon them robbers suddenly, for they have formed a plan to take me, and have hidden snares for me. 23 And thou, Elohim, knowest all their deadly counsel against me, account not their iniquities guiltless, and blot not out their sins from before thee, let their weakness come before thee, deal with them in the time of thy wrath. Jeremiah 19. 1 Then said Elohim to me, Go and get an earthen bottle, the work of the potter, and thou shalt bring some of the elders of the people, and of the priests. 2 And thou shalt go forth to the burial place of the sons of their children, which is at the entrance of the gate of Charseth, and do thou read there all these words which I shall speak to thee. 3 And thou shalt say to them, Hear ye the word of Elohim, ye kings of Judah, and men of Judah, and the dwellers in Jerusalem, and they that enter in by these gates. Thus saith Elohim Jehovah of Israel, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, so that the ears of every one that hears it shall tingle. 4 Because they forsook me, and profaned this place, and burnt incense in it to strange gods, which they and their fathers knew not, and the kings of Judah have filled this place with innocent blood. 5 And built high places for Baal, to burn their children in the fire, which things I commanded not, neither did I design them in my heart. 6 Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Elohim, when this place shall no more be called, the fall and burial place of the son of Enom, but, the burial place of slaughter. 7 And I will destroy the counsel of Judah and the counsel of Jerusalem in this place, and I will cast them down with the sword before their enemies, and by the hands of them that seek their lives, and I will give their dead bodies for food to the birds of the sky and to the wild beasts of the earth. 8 And I will bring this city to desolation and make it a hissing, every one that passes by it shall scowl, and hiss because of all her plague. 9 And they shall eat the flesh of their sons, and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his neighbor in the blockade, and in the siege wherewith their enemies shall besiege them. 10 And thou shalt break the bottle in the sight of the men that go forth with thee. 11 And thou shalt say, Thus saith Elohim, Thus will I break in pieces this people, and this city, even as an earthen vessel is broken in pieces which cannot be mended again. 12 Thus will I do, saith Elohim, to this place, and to the inhabitants of it, that this city may be given up, as one that is falling to ruin. 13 And the houses of Jerusalem, and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be as a ruinous place, because of their uncleannesses in all the houses, wherein they burnt incense upon their roofs to all the host of heaven, and poured drink offerings to strange gods. 14 And Jeremias came from the place of the fall, whither Elohim had sent him to prophesy, and he stood in the court of Elohim's house, and said to all the people, Thus saith Elohim, 15 Behold I bring upon this city, and upon all the cities belonging to it, and upon the villages of it, all the evils which I have spoken against it, because they have hardened their neck that they might not hearken to my commands. Psalms 142. 1 A psalm of instruction for David, when he was in the cave, a prayer. I cried to Elohim with my voice I made supplication to Elohim. 2 I will pour out before him my supplication, I will declare before him mine affliction. 3 When my spirit was fainting within me, then thou knewest my paths, in the very way wherein I was walking, they hid a snare for me. 4 I looked on my right hand, and behold, for there was none that noticed me, refuge failed me, and there was none that cared for my soul. 5 I cried unto thee, O Elohim, and said, Thou art my hope, my portion in the land of the living. 6 Attend to my supplication, for I am brought very low, deliver me from them that persecute me, for they are stronger than I. 7 Bring my soul out of prison, that I may give thanks to thy name, O Elohim, the righteous shall wait for me, until thou recompense me.